Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Ben Jones here with Bad Dwarf and Bronson Coffee Roasters, hanging out in the good old coffee workshop again. It's Friday. It is indeed, and it's the 10th of July. We're coming live. If you're watching live, thank you for joining us. I'm just gonna dilly-dally for a moment, let folk join. If you're watching the recorded version, feel free to fast forward a little bit. All right, what I want to talk about today is just some basics of coffee brewing. Nothing crazy nerdy, just like what's going on when we are making coffee. So what I have here is went ahead and grabbed some more of my current favorite coffee, the Las Brisas. It's a Colombian coffee. I really enjoy Colombian coffees. I imagine that a lot of that has to do with when I was growing up. If we had coffee in the house, it was often, we probably had some Folgers or something of the sort. And I know for sure that my grandmother, that is her brand. She loves the Juan Valdez. So that underlying note of coffee out of Colombia really kind of set my palate to that area. So with this coffee, with this it's just an average kind of medium drip grind. What I'm going to do with this is I could run it through my little Melita filter using the pour over kettle and everything, but I want to try to pare this down and make this a more simple concept. So instead, I'm going to use my little graduated beaker, and we're just going to put that coffee right in there. I have my scale, which I'm going to turn on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it. It has a timer feature. I'm just going to use it as a timer because we're just going to go without a scale. So I can't hold this the way that you can see it because, well, I guess it'll work like that. It's still backwards for y'all, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add my hot water. I'm making a mug that's going to be a 10-ounce mug. So I'm just going to put about 11 ounces of water plus a tiny bit more for the space that the coffee takes up. There we are, and let's get the timer going. And take a little stirring paddle and just give that a little agitation, just so that I can be sure all my grounds are wet. What's happening here is we're making coffee. The hot water is pulling out flavors from the little coffee particles. As it sits and steeps, we're getting extraction. I want to try to capture some of that heat, so I'm just going to put my brewer on top of there. Yeah, this is it. We're making coffee. It's that easy. Ground coffee, hot water, some type of way to filter it out. I could just grit my teeth really good, just really close it out and just sip through like that. Try to just filter out those grounds. We've done that when we've been out camping, you boil your grounds and you try to skim it off, and you get a little bit of the grounds in there. Yeah, it happens. Hey, I see lots of folks joining us. Eric and Tia, good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. Thank you both for being loyal joiners into our brewing videos. It's really good to see you, but I'll show up. All right, but what I want to do here is while that steeps and brews, I'm just going to put that over to trap that heat. I do like to rinse my filter, so I'm going to add some water to my filter. Just want to rinse out, let those paper particles get rinsed out, and Eric, you're saying all kinds of crazy things that I don't understand on there. That's all right. Oh, baleen, I get it. Yes, filtering out the coffee like a baleen whale. Yeah. That you could do that, you know, just like how whales, like they have their big baleen teeth that just kind of filter out the stuff they want to eat as they swim through the ocean. That's right, you can do that too. But I still prefer to filter my coffee. So we now have our sludgy slurry, not really appetizing because of all that extra grit in there. We have our freshly rinsed filter, and I'm just going to pour that through there. We're at about just shy of 3 minutes on this brew. And as I pour that in, it just is going to, you know, the coffee's going to drip through. The grounds are going to baleen back. No, Josh, I did not know that the Vikings used baleen to tie together their boats. That's a good Friday fun fact. There we are. All right, so I now have a dirty old measuring cup that I use to brew my coffee with, and then I'm using my brewer to actually filter it. So this is functional. This works. We're getting a cup of coffee. This is all going to drain through. I'm going to be left with a nice 10-ounce little beverage in my diner mug. I hope those of you who've been paying attention, I hope you noticed the basic concepts here. And I hope that this reminded you of another little brewer out there. Something to hold the ground coffee, a Melita style filter that when we're ready, we then let it drain through that filter. It's a clever dripper. It's a fantastic little tool. I hardly ever use it for no good reason. There's no good reason why I don't have one. I basically did a clever. I really wish I actually had a clever here in my workshop, because this is going to be a little bit trickier to clean up. Not awful, but I'm going to have to deal with the filter paper anyway. The clever dripper is fantastic. Let's make sure that somebody tosses a little link down there in the descriptions at some point. Because that clever dripper, that's basically what we made. I just made a lot of extra dishes while I was doing it. So the clever is a fantastic way to drink coffee. I got impatient and I just want to start drinking this now. Join us next Friday for our further discussion on the construction of ancient boats. That's a good cup of coffee. Columbia, Las Brisas, batter from Bronson Coffee Roasters. The clever dripper does what I just did here, but it's a much simpler way to do it. Fewer dishes to do. Coffee's pretty easy. Get some good quality beans. Get some good water. Filtered, no funny flavors. If you want to avoid chlorines, make sure if you have a municipal supply and it's chlorinated. If you're well water, just make sure you don't have too much mineral. Water filtration is great. Just a standard little kind of household water filter works really well. You can buy a larger inline setup if you want to. Sometimes I just use tap water, don't tell anybody. Yeah. Good clean water, good fresh coffee. Grind it up real nice. A good grinder is really helpful. Make sure you use the right amount of grounds for the right amount of water. And remember that when you grind your coffee, the smaller the particles, when they get real tiny, they need smaller amounts of time to give up their flavors. As those flavors grow, or as those particles grow larger, they need a longer brew time. There's less surface area on the big particles. Takes longer for the water to penetrate to the center core to migrate out the flavors. And that's your basics. Let that hot water steep with that ground coffee. Filter it out somehow. The tools we use make it real easy. When you don't have the tools you improvise up, you kind of start to appreciate what the tools are for. One of these days, I'm just gonna sit on my counter. There we go. It's kind of weird being in the workshop because it's not really set up for a video studio. So I have to like lean in. All right. I've got nothing constructive left to say except that I really like this coffee. And I really liked our video discussion that we had on Wednesday. Bob, our coffee buyer, talking with Mr. Castle from Swiss Water, the decaffeination station up in Burnaby. Man, those people are amazing. That Swiss Water decaf, honestly, like, I would be okay if every single one of our coffees in our lineup was a Swiss Water decaf. Yeah, if we got rid of all of our caffeinated coffees, I would be completely on board with that. Keep the flavor, lose the caffeines. I'm not in love with caffeine, but man, I would love to drink coffee all day long. All right. It's really good to see everybody. It was fun reading up the comments today. Tia, always nice to have you join us. I really would like to head down to Mexico and bring you some coffee. Josh and Eric, miss seeing y'all in the office. All right. Go have a good weekend. Make up some coffee. Decaf, regular, doesn't really matter. But make it taste good. Enjoy it. Go out and do some good in the world. Thanks, everybody.